Ears and Beers, episode 47, a little TCU instant reaction. I'm Wesley Euler. First, as always, what are we drinking? If you're watching on YouTube, you can see I've got a Brew Gentleman White Sky, a fantastic beer. It's a wheat beer with a little spice to it. Easy drinking. They go down quick and smooth, what you need when your basketball team has now lost 11 of their last 12 games. Prost. Episode 47. We've now got more episodes than presidents in the history of this country. How about that? On President's Day. As WVU falls to TCU 77-67. 11 of the last 12 this team has lost. Another dreadful second half when you did a lot of encouraging things in the first 20 minutes. How can you start shooting so well but finish like that, right? And not just tonight, all bleeping season. But especially tonight. You were 11 of 13 to start the game. 85% from the field in the first 10 minutes of that game, yet somehow you were down a point. Well, not yet somehow. It's because you can't play defense worth a lick. But isn't that just this season in a nutshell? Like, it doesn't matter the good things that this team does because their inefficiencies still cost them. As soon as they start doing something well, another area of their game falls apart. You finally start to move the ball a little bit in the half court, but you also start to turn it over cheaply. You finally start to make some shots, but you just come completely undone defensively. So you can turn out the lights. The season's over. That's it. You're 14-13 now. Any small hope that you could hang on to for making the tournament is gone. The only way you're making the tournament now is if you win the Big 12 tournament, and that just sounds funny saying out loud at this point. So you can turn out the lights on this season. One that I think we will look back on is one of the most disappointing, certainly in recent memory, certainly in the Bob Huggins era, but for a long time for this program. Because it's not that we had crazy expectations coming into this season, but you also shouldn't be out of the dance in February either. So turn out the lights. It's over. A million ways to lose. A million ways to lose. This damn team finds a million ways to lose. There's my attempt at a hooligan song for this team. It's the same story every game, man. Like, if this team, how many times have we said this season? If this team had any touch around the rim, just a shred of it. But they don't. You know, I made the joke, like back in December, it's a hockey line, right? But sometimes when there's hockey players that are really good, they just can't score. They just can't finish. You use the joke, you know, that guy is all Swedish, no finish. Yeah, get it? It's clever. But this team is all Swedish and no finish. And tonight, you know, other than the hometown kid and Taz Sherman, did anybody else look like they really wanted it out there in this game? And I'm not naive, okay? Like, I know these guys work hard. I know how much of their lives they've poured into the game of basketball and continue to pour into this. What I mean by saying, does anyone look like they really want it besides Taz out there? I don't mean that as like an indictment of these guys as basketball players. I mean it in the like focus of this season. I don't mean that in the big picture. What I mean by that is it's pretty clear that these guys are drained too. That they're just crawling to the finish line. I mean, you can't collapse like that. You can't continue to collapse like this in second halves and not be. They're just going through the motions like a lot of us are as fans. And I don't mean that like to question their desire as basketball players. I'm talking just here in the now and what, you know, feels like a roster that's just going through the motions and trying to get to the finish line. there's no life out there. There's no swagger out there. There's no belief out there. Like, you want your athletes, right? In any sport, I think, that you follow, that you root for, but particularly basketball, where one guy can make such a difference. Like, you want guys who have confidence bordering on arrogance, almost. You see that sometimes from Taz, but not really from anybody else. You don't see it from Sean, despite us all knowing that he can make shots from anywhere. You don't see it from Jalen Bridges. I just continue to wait for the moment that JB goes to the next level. Good first half, 9 points. He had not a basket in the second half, not a point. 9 points at the half, finished with 9 points. What do you got to lose at this point, boys? Just let it fly. Just confidence bordering on arrogance. So, I mean, I don't have a ton to dissect. It's the same story every game. It has been since conference play started in January. You've lost 11 out of 12. There's really not much else left. These instant reaction podcasts are getting hard for me to do. It's this same damn podcast twice a week. I'm looking at the box score here. Like, it's just the first half to second half differences continue to be incredible. All right, here's what I'll say as I start to wrap this up. Because, again, like, I got nothing else. What do we really need to get into the minutia of the game? We need to talk about Isaiah Cottrell and some of the good stuff he did. Do we need to talk about how somehow this team continues to win the battle of second chance points, but it means, again, nothing when they continue to fall apart in so many other areas? Here's what I'll say to start to wrap this up, or to wrap this up. Like, the biggest indictment you can have of any team that you root for, I don't care what the sport is just being at the point where you're looking forward to the season being over. If you're a real junkie like me, if you love your teams, right? I love WVU, I love the Pittsburgh Penguins, I love Manchester United. You just love watching your team play. When they're really good, when they're just okay, even when they're bad, you love watching your team play. You love watching your teams play. No matter what the sport is. NFL, NBA, baseball, hockey, college sports. But the biggest indictment you can have of where your teams are at, I think, in any sport is, again, being at that point where you're looking forward to the season being over. And that's where I'm at. It's sad to say, I've very rarely been here as a fan, but that's where I'm at. Like, we are the team in the Big 12 that everybody wants to play. They see us on the schedule, they circle that game. They say, that's one we got to have, boys. Can't lose to those guys. And that's just a tough scene, man. I also, real quick, I always forget how much I hate Jamie Dixon until we play him, until I see his smug face patrolling the sideline, back and forth, running down the sideline, all over the court, all demonstrative out there like he thinks he's Mike Krzyzewski. He is. He's like Mike Krzyzewski on the sideline, except for, Coach K is actually a legend and has actually won things. Or Jamie Dixon hasn't won squat since I was in middle school. Since the first version of plasma TVs were getting rolled out 17, 18 years ago. But I don't know what else to say. Play the kids. Play Seth. Play Kobe. Play Okonkwo. That's all I got. The one good thing to come from this game, they promoted on the broadcast, Pauly Polycap, he's a chef. He's got an Instagram account just devoted to his business. He is a chef in Morgantown. He makes plates. And at chef.pauly is where you can follow him on Instagram. And they showed his account real quick during the broadcast on ESPN Plus, and he's gained hundreds of followers. So that's the one cool thing. That's like the pure intentions of NIL, right? A guy like Pauly Polycap, who wants to be a chef, who's a good cook, can make food and sell it, start his own small business. That's the pure intentions of NIL. So good for Pauly, and I'm glad to see that his his business account, his food business, got some bump during the broadcast. I followed him on Instagram. You should too. And And good for him. That's the one good thing to come from this game. So that's all I got. I'll talk to you Wednesday night. I'm going to keep on doing these instant reaction podcasts because I'm just a glutton for suffering and because I love this team, but I'm looking forward to the season being over. Let's get some Maisie ball going. How about that baseball team? They got robbed today against Coastal Carolina, but they're our only hope right now. So cheers, everybody. And, before I go, your starting quarterback in the backyard brawl, September 1st at Heinz Field against those stinking Pitt Panthers. Still going to be Will Goose Crowder. This has been episode 47. More episodes than presidents now, baby, of the Eers and Beers podcast. I'm Wesley Euler. As always, we'll get through it together. Let's go Mountaineers. Let's go drink some beers.